think we made the right decision moving to Bakersfield.
She's the new girl in school.
Hey, baby, come over here. Come on. Ride on my bike.
The girl's class. Girls like that don't marry guys like us.
Angel by name and devil by game.
Me? Wild streak? Not a chance.
With a girlfriend like Angel.
I want that necklace.
Step on it, baby. Step on it.
Why stay in prison? Shannen Doherty, Antonio Sabato Jr., Adrian Brody. Jailbreakers.
We're not talking about actors. We mean a real monster.
I brought her back. She'll live and I'll get her another body.
I know they're gonna catch me, but don't let anyone see me like that. Please, Doctor, help me!
Biologically speaking, it's of primary importance that man should want to mate. Hey, that
You don't get all your kicks from surfing, do you?
We want to be free to ride our machines without being hassled by the man. And we want to get loaded.
You think you're gonna make a slave of the world? I'll see you in hell first!
The American International Podcast.
Are you ready?
Hey there, movie fans. You found the American International Podcast. I'm Cheryl Lightfoot.
And I'm Jeff Markin.
And our next stop on the Rebel Highway is episode number 8, Jailbreakers. Jailbreakers first aired on Showtime on September 9th, 1994. It was written by Debra Hill and Gigi Vorgan, directed by William Friedkin, and produced by Lou Arkoff, Debra Hill, and Willie Kuttner for Showtime Networks, Drive-In Classics, and Spelling Films International.
Jailbreakers stars Shannen Doherty as Angel Norton, Adrienne Barbeau as Mrs. Sheila Norton, Adrian Brody as Skinny, Vince Edwards as Mr. Frank Norton, George Gerdes as Lieutenant Clark, Dana Barron as Sue, Chris Conrad as Jack, Sean Whalen as Tattoo, Talbert Morton as Whale, Charles Napier as Charles the Horse Connection, Carrie Randalls as Missy, and Antonio Sabato Jr. as Tony Falcon.
I'm not really sure what's going on at the beginning of this movie. It sounds like people are working outside, working on the chain gang, maybe. We see pictures of old-time jails.
It's like a prison yard. It's in black and white. And it's in a small frame as the credits are playing around it.
What's different about this movie, it doesn't open with a popular song. It's not rock and roll. It's foreboding music.
There's not really much music at all in this one.
No, there's a few songs.
It doesn't take advantage of the 50s era soundtrack.
It doesn't take advantage of a lot of things from the 50s. I have comments on that later. That just lasts for a few minutes, though, just till the credits are over. And then we find ourselves outside a high school, which I believe says Van Nuys High School. But they don't really go into where we are at this point in the movie.
Yeah, and that shot goes from black and white and fades into color, so the rest of the film will be in color. Unlike the original Jailbreakers, which is black and white through the whole thing.
They didn't know about color, or they couldn't afford it.
They knew about it.
Well, they couldn't afford it. So now, exterior high school. 3 tough guys in leather jackets are standing outside a fence ogling the cheerleaders. This is Skinny, played by Adrian Brody, Tattoo, Sean Whalen, and Whale, who's the least of the 3, played by Talbert Morton. They're waiting for somebody. There's somebody coming that's got something they need.
But they're killing time by watching the cheerleaders, and among them is Angel Norton.
That's Shannen Doherty, looking very much like Brenda in 90210. And she doesn't mind this attention. Of all the girls, she doesn't care. In fact, she likes it.
The phys ed teacher has an issue with it, though. She tells the girls not to look at them because that'll only encourage them.
Which it does. And Angel actually bends over and flashes her undies at them, and they love it.
Just then, Tony Falcon rides up on his motorcycle. He's the other guy that the toughs were waiting for, and he joins his friends.
Angel notices this too, and since he's way better looking than the 3 of them, she becomes smitten immediately. And it looks like the feeling is mutual.
The cheerleader coach dismisses the girls and has them all come in, but Angel drags her friend Missy over toward where these boys are standing, and Angel dares Missy to dare her to talk to them.
Missy's not interested in this conversation or in Angel having this conversation. Tony, meanwhile, has taken the opportunity to pose for Angel, laying seductively across his motorcycle, leg up on the chassis. So Angel makes a beeline for it.
Yeah, the girls walk up to Tony, and Tony offers Angel a smoke. She accepts, even though Missy reminds her that she doesn't smoke.
But Missy is cock-blocking Tony, no question about it. He wants to take Angel for a ride on his bicycle. And once again, Missy chimes in.
No.
We don't have time for that. And to this, Angel agrees. They don't have time today, but she promises that there will be time later.
The girls go off and Skinny tells Tony to stop wasting his time because it ain't cherry picking season.
Gross. Tony tells him to shut it.
And now it must be another time because we're on a porch swing outside Angel's house.
The porch swing is squeaking enthusiastically as the two of them rock. And of course, they're making out.
Tony's moving a little fast, and Angel says that he's not like the boys at school.
He's not a boy. He's at least 21.
But he had promised to wait until Angel is 16.
So she's only 15. I was surprised that the movie was going to make her that age because she does look, she could be 17. She looks like that.
Angel's father comes out, Mr. Norton, and Angel explains that Tony has graduated and he's the brother of a friend at school, and he walked her home from the library. And Dad seems cool with this.
Well, of course, it's a life. So Angel introduces Tony to her dad, and they have the typical father-daughter's date small talk. He wants to know what Tony's about, what he's doing. Tony's shiftless. He's graduated, but he doesn't have a real job. So, of course, the father recommends that he join the Army. It worked for him, and there's all kinds of career opportunities for people in the service. And Tony says he'll think about it.
So Mr. Norton goes back inside, and Tony turns to Angel and says, "You're not a bad liar, Angel. That's cool." Then they do a little more macking, and then she has to go in.
Tony has to go, so as he's walking down the porch, Skinny falls out of the tree in front of Angel's house. Apparently, he was spying on them because he tells Tony that he's a good kisser. He finally knows. Always wondered.
He also rags on him for going out with this girl for 2 weeks now, and that's as far as he's gotten with her.
And then he says that Tony should remember that classy girls like Angel don't really give guys like them the time of day. And then he demonstrates why, because he recommends stealing the neighbor's car.
Well, he sees a pickup truck parked down the street, and he wants to lift that because they've got a deal going on with a horse that we don't really know about yet. And it would be a nice vehicle to hook up a trailer to.
Yes.
But Tony has his eye on this convertible.
Well, the truck's an old rust bucket, and the convertible is cherry. And of course, that's what Tony wants to be seen riding around in. And they do.
So Tony gets his way.
Tony always gets his way.
So they're driving off, and for some reason, they have a weird conversation about fish. I thought maybe it makes sense as the movie continued, but it never really did.
I think that they're in some sort of drug deal that was going to end with them in Mexico, and Skinny was going to get himself a senorita. He really likes the senoritas. Maybe Tony would want one too.
Well, it wasn't a drug deal. It was that horse deal. But as we'll find out, that's not as much of a scam as they lead us to believe.
Well, you know, horse is another word for heroin. So I think that's why I thought it was drugs.
Yeah, it makes sense.
I didn't expect them to have an actual
But it was an
horse.
actual horse in this case.
Well, we don't know that yet, though. Tony doesn't want a senorita. He wants a stuffed marlin. He wants a boat so he can catch a fish and mount it over his desk, bed. I don't know. Skinny wonders how he keeps it from smelling. And Tony's like, "It's stuffed, you moron." So this is Tony's big dream. Angel and a stuffed marlin.
Yeah, this is one of two instances in this movie that I could think of that don't really move the plot forward or mean anything.
Well, we do find out about they have some deal going, but again, it's not spelled out for us anyway.
So it must be the next morning. It's daylight. Tony takes his stolen car and picks up Angel.
At the house across the street from where he stole it.
Yeah, not a good idea.
Broad daylight, and he honks the horn so that she comes out. And I noticed this for the first time here, but not the last time. Angel's wardrobe seems like it came straight out of the 90210 truck. It looks exactly like something that somebody would wear in the 90s. She's wearing sleeveless tops, pedal pushers. Her skirt, when she wears one, is short. The cheerleader outfit she wears is very brief and looks like what the girls wore when I was in high school in the 80s. None of her wardrobe looks period authentic at any point during the movie. And her hairstyle doesn't either. She has short, not even a bob, just kind of short feathered hair. It doesn't look anything like a 50s hairstyle. And a lot of the other movies have at least tried to get us on that page, where this one has no intention of doing that. Not for her character.
No, I think they were just content to have the guys in jeans and leather jackets.
But some of the other girls do wear their hair long with the scarf around the ponytail, and they wear poodle skirts, but not Angel. She has gone fashion forward by about 40 years.
So Tony takes Angel to a coffee shop in town, And this seems to be where he hangs out because at another table, we see Skinny, Whale, and Tattoo are already there. And Tony and Angel take a table right next to theirs.
These three morons are reliving on the waterfront for everyone's amusement. They're saying the lines loudly.
And doing the worst friendo I've ever heard.
They could have been a contender. It wasn't that good.
No, it wasn't.
Not even close.
I don't think he'd ever seen Brando. I think he was just saying the lines.
Maybe he saw like Bugs Bunny doing Brando or something. At any rate, Missy and her boyfriend Gary come in and sit behind the three toughs and spot Angel with Tony. Gary wonders out loud how she could be with that guy.
Then there's another group of guys at the counter, and they start bad-mouthing Tony, too.
Where'd they come from? Looks like they all were in the bathroom together because they come from the back of the diner, not the front door. And they see Tony and his gang, and they decide they're going to start something. But we don't know who they are. They're really not important to the plot.
This was the other instance that I was going to mention that doesn't really drive it forward at all. So this is Flint and another couple of toughs, and
they have a beef with Tony and his gang.
For some reason, yeah.
For reasons unspecified.
Tony asks Angel to go get him a pack of smokes. And when she does, Splint goes over to talk to Tony, and Tony kind of dismisses him. So Splint then goes to talk to Angel instead and asks why she's hanging out with a guy like Tony.
When he's a guy like Tony, how can he judge?
But then Tony appears right behind Splint with a switchblade.
Switched on.
Splint's gang jumps up to his defense, and Tony's gang holds them all back. Splint tells Tony he didn't mean any harm. He was just paying her a compliment. But nonetheless, a fight starts to break out.
The diner owner spots this immediately and tells them if they're going to fight, they should take it outside. And they take his advice. All 7 of them go outside and have a brawl in the parking lot. Angel follows so that she can be a witness to this. And basically, Splint and Tony are fighting each other. And it seems pretty evenly matched because they're both getting pretty banged up. But no knives are drawn. It's just fist fighting.
The scuffle does eventually end. And Angel asks Tony if he's hurt. He says he's fine, and they get in the car and drive off, and she wipes the blood off his face as they go.
So what I think this might demonstrate is that it's the first time Angel has seen Tony be anything other than a sweet guy. Now, is she appalled by this, or is she approving of this? So I think she's getting a look at Tony being a tough guy and not hating it. She didn't say, no, I won't go with you. So we're getting a little look at Angel's character more than Tony's. Not that it was skillfully done, but I think that's what we're supposed to take away.
I think it's done a little more skillfully in the conversation that follows, because as they're driving off, she asks how he can afford such a nice car, seeing how he doesn't have a job or anything. He says he got it from a rich uncle.
They always say that. Girls, that's a lie.
Yeah, well, she doesn't buy that. So she is starting to get some insight into the guy Tony really is.
Yeah, she keeps quizzing him. She wants to know about his friends, his daily routine, his future plans. And he fobs her off with vague replies and outright lies. But she's decided she wants to drive this car. So it doesn't matter.
And he allows it.
They swap places while they're driving, which I thought was dangerous, but probably added to the thrill for her.
He tells her that she can have any guy in this town. But she tells him that she wants something different, not something that the boys at her school can offer.
And she doesn't want to be like her mother. Her mother settled down young and is bored to tears, according to Angel. Angel wants adventure.
Then she does a couple of donuts in the middle of the street, and then they park in front of a diner, and he leaves her there to go inside to get a pack of Luckies and a couple of burgers to go. And while he's in there, he might as well rob the joint.
He waits till his burgers are done, though. He's a smart guy.
Yeah, the owner pinches the burgers. Then when he tries to collect the payment, Tony grabs him and tells him to empty the register. Just then Angel comes in, so Tony has her do the dirty work.
And she's not opposed to it. It does seem at first like she's kind of scared, not sure what's going on and if she wants to be a part of it. But she takes the money, and once they get back in the car and drive off, she is aroused.
She's all in, yeah. She's very excited by this. They drive off and find a place to park and celebrate, which happens to be in front of a jewelry store.
And the pearl necklace catches Angel's eyes, and she asks Tony if he might retrieve that for her.
Yeah. She wants him to prove how much he likes her.
And the only way to do that is with jewelry, apparently. So Tony complies. He's wearing a leather jacket, so he smashes the window with his elbow and doesn't just steal that pearl necklace. He steals basically everything he can grab in 30 seconds. And after the smash and grab, he jumps in the car and Angel drives off.
Yeah, the alarm's going off, so it isn't long before they're pursued by cops.
But, okay. Something else is happening, though, while Angel is driving the getaway car. Tony is got his head on her lap, and she's enjoying that very much. And you can use your imagination as to what's going on down there. When he tries to stop, she makes him go back and finish the job, even after she's being chased by the cops.
But they can't get too far because the roadblock has been set up in front of them, so Angel has to stop. So Tony and Angel once again quickly change places.
Hope she pulled her underpants up. And Tony gets arrested, not Angel. Angel is claiming innocence at this point.
So Mr. and Mrs. Norton go to pick up Angel from jail. Angel tells them that she didn't do anything wrong, and Mrs. Norton says, of course not. You were under the influence of a juvenile delinquent. Mr. Norton snorts. He's no juvenile.
He's just delinquent. Dad wants to know if this dirty hoodlum has despoiled his Angel in any way, which Angel denies. Then he goes to talk to one of the duty cops, who tells him that the chief is on the phone and says that they'll work something out in terms of getting Angel off without any charges whatsoever.
Now 2 weeks have passed. Angel is walking to school with her mother, and Angel is concerned about playing the lead in Romeo and Juliet.
She's become a pariah in school. Nobody will talk to her just because she got arrested with a hoodlum.
Her mother thinks that it's all in her head, though, and if she lets it go, she'll see that the other kids already have.
Her mom is this font of hopeful, helpful advice that really doesn't do anyone any good. Angel goes into the school and heads to the auditorium. When she gets in there, she sees that Missy has replaced her as Juliet during rehearsals.
She yells out, "How could you do this to me? You did it to yourself," says Missy. "I tried to warn you."
And the teacher directing the play tells Angel that she just missed too many rehearsals. She had to be replaced.
Then she asks her to leave because she's a distraction. They've got a lot of work to do because opening night is coming soon.
And they're behind because of Angel. The part of this that I thought was really funny is when Angel is complaining to the director/teacher. She says, "My mom wrote you a note. I was sick." But that doesn't fly.
So, having been dispensed of by the rest of society, Angel goes to visit Tony in jail.
It's supposed to be the 1950s, but they're separated by glass and they have to talk through the telephone. I don't know if they had those back then. Every other movie I've seen from that era, they're
it's just chicken wire.
What's that? They're sitting at a table facing each other. I guess Tony might be a more dangerous criminal than someone in reform school girl, but who knows? I just realized that. That was kind of weird. But Angel says she's going to wait for Tony for as long as it takes, and they declare their love.
Yeah, Tony says that when he gets out, they can do all the things that they talked about. And she says she'll wait for him forever and ever. And they say they love each other, and they do the hand pressed against the glass thing that you have to do when your loved one is in jail.
I thought this was really weird. Angel's leaving the prison, walking past the prison yard on foot, and she's going to walk home, and all the prisoners are shouting and catcalling her. She walked out to the prison. Those things aren't usually a few blocks away from town. It's usually a significant distance. But as we'll find out later, she's okay with walking long distances, or at least capable.
And somehow Mr. and Mrs. Norton knew where to find her because they drive by to pick her up.
That's lucky for her. I think that she might have been in trouble otherwise. They scold her mildly for taking off. She had been gone all night and making them worry.
Well, it was a long walk.
Yeah, apparently. Might even be the next state for all we know. Angel whines that Tony is her only friend, so she had to visit him. She has no one else to talk to.
Her mother tells her that Tony's not her friend and reminds her that people are forgiving. Just give them time. She just has to gain their respect again. And they push her into the car and take her home.
We're not leaving the prison, though, because Skinny is visiting Tony. He needs a name from him, a contact for the scam he's setting up.
This is where we find a little more about that horse scam.
A little, not much.
Apparently, Tony had some money put away for the scam, and Skinny wants that so he can go ahead with it. But Tony would prefer that Skinny wait until he's out so he can participate.
He says whoever the contact is will only deal with Tony anyway, so he's got to wait. And I think here's where we first get an inkling that the solution to all their problems is to bust Tony out of prison. But it doesn't happen. Not yet.
The next scene was at a country club, and the Nortons are there and happy to be amongst their peers, but their peers aren't happy to be amongst the Nortons.
No, they're also pariahs. It's not just Angel.
Mr. Norton sees a business associate and goes to speak with them, but the man has been distant and has apparently been meaning to tell Mr. Norton that he's pulling his accounts with him.
He's going to go with somebody else whose daughter doesn't have trouble with the law. Mrs. Norton can't get her friends to acknowledge her waves. They can't get a table from the maitre d'. And so they've realized that their future in this town is going to be very bleak if they stay.
So they decide to move to Bakersfield to get a fresh start.
And as they're packing up to go, Mrs. Norton tells Angel that she's going to have a new school and new friends and everything will be fine. She'll see. Just wait. Hopefully her dad got a new job because that would be key as well. And they'll find a new country club.
At the jail, it's mail call and letters are being distributed, but there's nothing for Tony. Tony hasn't heard from Angel in 3 months.
The guard reminds him of that as he's telling Tony he doesn't have a letter today, and that Tony needs to forget that dame. Tony instead takes out his rage on the wall of his cell.
At her new school, Angel is adjusting nicely. She's a cheerleader, and she has a new friend. This is Sue.
She's a cheerleader again.
And Angel has been seeing a jock named Jack.
This is not a Jack named Jock. And these other cheerleaders are her friends. Sue's going to stay over. Everyone's coming to her barbecue on Saturday. So she's actually bounced back and then some.
Jack the jock runs track. And after his run, he meets up with Angel. And she starts asking him all kinds of questions about things that she used to do with Tony.
Well, she wants to know what kind of guy Jack is. For example, what kind of guy who would steal a car? And Jack's aghast at this line of questioning.
Yeah, he thinks that Angel might have a wild streak in her. But she denies this.
So now it's the day of the barbecue. We're in Angel's family's backyard.
And the whole family of Norton seems to be popular in this new crowd.
There are a lot of people there. To me, it looked like just Angel's friends were there and they're chaperoning. But there might have been other adults there. I just didn't notice. But Angel's dad got all his accounts back and everyone's thriving in Bakersfield now.
Yeah, Angel's made a lot of new friends and seems to have forgotten about that Tony Falcon.
Can't believe that's his name. It's so ridiculous. The punch bowl is empty, so Mom sends Angel in to fill it up again.
She goes to the kitchen and Jack follows her. She gets him to start to make out with her, but Jack pulls back. She's been talking about wanting to steal cars, and now she wants to make out in her parents' house. And it's all making him a little uncomfortable.
He's not that kind of boy. Jack leaves, and Angel dutifully makes the punch, but she seems a little disappointed in the way that turned out.
After the party, Sue has stayed to help Angel clean up, and apparently Angel has told Sue all about Tony, and Sue is intrigued by this stranger.
From the way that Angel describes him, he's hot, he's dangerous. He made her feel like no man has ever made her feel before. And I think it's secondhand enjoyment for Sue because she's not the kind of person who would ever really go out with a hoodlum like Tony.
And she asks, what about Jack? And Angel says, Jack who? So Angel's not really into Jack. He's just convenient for the moment.
And it's the next morning. Angel is leaving the house, again in a sleeveless top. And Angel's mom opens the front door to see her going and wonders where she's off to. Angel just says she's going out without specifying and runs down the sidewalk.
Next, we see Tony has received a letter from Angel. So apparently she was going to mail a letter, and we skipped ahead to the delivery of that letter.
Thank goodness.
That letter explains that Angel had moved to a new town and had been told never to see Tony again. But she also tells him about a track meet in Santa Cruz that will bring her only 15 miles from the prison. So if Skinny can pick her up there and bring her to the prison, they can get together.
They can at least see each other. And the idea is that Skinny can return her to the hotel so she can make the bus back to Bakersfield in time.
So next, we see Skinny is meeting with Tony, and Tony is telling Skinny of this plan. Skinny jokes about what he'll be doing with Angel while she's in his possession, but Tony doesn't appreciate the humor.
It doesn't seem like Skinny really wants to complete this mission for Tony, but as with all things, Tony's word is law. So it's 6 a.m., and Skinny picks up Angel at the hotel as directed, or he tries to.
Angel leaves a note to Sue asking her to cover for her. Then she goes out and hops on Skinny's bike, but just then Jack comes by with some buddies. So she pretends that she's just arriving and he's driving her off.
And that he's her cousin. She got homesick and called her aunt, and so her cousin came to pick her up. And she and Jack walk off together.
So Skinny rushes back to Tony to tell him that she's two-timing him with some jock.
And this is enough to get that plot to bust Tony out of jail in motion. And Skinny agrees to be part of that because he wants to do that scam and go to Mexico. He doesn't care about Angel. She's a two-timer.
So next time that Tony and fellow inmates are doing hard labor out in the prison yard, Skinny rides up on his motorcycle, yells, "Come on, let's blow."
He jumps over a hill and down into the yard. And then there's nothing stopping him from just riding through a field, driving him away.
You would think there'd be at least a gate or something.
Somebody guarding any means of escape.
Some sort of a fence.
It was hilariously easy for Skinny to pick up Tony at work and drive him home, basically is what happened.
And the other inmates cheer him on as he rides off.
Right, they don't all try to get on the bike. Zombie style.
And next scene, we're at some sort of a ranch, and Tony and Skinny have continued their scheme with this horse.
They have a different truck, and there's a horse trailer attached to it, and there's a horse inside. So this really was about a horse.
Yeah, and they're selling this horse, and they get about $4,600 for it. So the scam was actually they were going to steal the horse and sell it.
And they did. But it seems like Skinny has feelings for this horse because he bids it a tender farewell and tells him he'll be happy as a stud horse here in this ranch. I was really confused by this.
It's also kind of weird that Skinny needed Tony's help to do this because, okay, maybe this particular buyer would only go through Tony, but there must have been other buyers.
Well, maybe there are not a lot of buyers that won't ask the provenance of the horse that is being delivered to them. And maybe this guy doesn't care. I thought they branded horses in some way so that you would know whose horse is whose. That doesn't seem to be a thing here.
Anyway, having received a satchel full of cash for that horse, Tony and Skinny hop into the pickup truck and drive away.
It's not long before they stop to ditch the trailer. Skinny goes out to disconnect it from the truck, and once that hitch is uncoupled, Tony leaves with the money, leaving Skinny in the dust as he floors it and drives off. And Skinny curses him out.
Back in Bakersfield at the Norton house, it's Angel's Sweet 16 party.
We can tell because they're printed balloons with the logo Angel Sweet 16. Could you do that in the 1950s? I don't know. I don't know when this movie's set because there are a lot of references made to Angel being a Barbie doll, and Barbie dolls didn't come out till 59. So it couldn't be any earlier than that.
It was probably 59, but I don't think Barbie would be so embedded in pop culture just yet.
Not among grown men, maybe little girls. There's a lot of choices in this movie that don't feel 50s, and that's one of them. And the balloons are too. I don't know where you get printed balloons in the 1950s.
Anyway, Angel is dancing with Jack. Mr. and Mrs. Norton look on approvingly.
Jack might be good for her.
Then Jack pulls Angel aside. He wants to talk to her for a second. He says he got her something. He pulls out both hands, palms down, and asks her to pick one.
And she picks the one that's obviously holding a box. I could tell. I'm sure she could. And it's a ring box. And it's not what you think.
And he opens it up, and there's a pearl ring inside.
She likes pearls.
She does. And he asks her to be his girl. She kind of giggles, and he tells her to just think about it.
Now, intercut with this scene, we see Tony driving in a direction. And eventually we see him parking in front of Angel's new house.
Yep, he's made a beeline to Bakersfield.
And he's zeroed in on her like a hunting dog. Instead of going to the door and knocking, he stands in the street bellowing for Angel like he's, well, Marlon Brando in Streetcar Named Desire.
She hears him and runs out to him. Her parents and Jack come out not far behind and watch as Angel jumps into the pickup with Tony.
And tears off. Must be love. Once they're going, Angel asks, where are they headed? Tony says they're going to Mexico, and Angel doesn't seem too happy about this destination.
No, she says her parents will kill her.
Now she cares what her parents think? Then Tony makes it rain by throwing some of the cash from the satchel at her. And I don't know, that didn't really seem to work either. She seems even more hesitant. She's staring forward with a lot of doubt on her face. And Tony describes the perfect life they're going to have when they get to Mexico. But Angel's just moping through all this. She's not excited at all.
Then we return to the Norton house. Mr. and Mrs. Norton have called the police, and Lieutenant Clark is taking a kidnapping report.
Lieutenant Clark doesn't seem like he's taking it seriously enough for Angel's dad. He's like, yeah, we'll file a report and see what happens, and leaves. And that leaves Angel's dad pretty unsatisfied.
Yeah, he wants to take matters into his own hands. Mrs. Norton says that she almost made the same mistakes when she was Angel's age. If Mr. Norton hadn't come along and saved her.
Guess she was going to run off with a bum too, but Mr. Norton prevented that from happening. How romantic. And Mrs. Norton vows to help her husband find their daughter.
We're going to find them first, though. There's a newly abandoned warehouse except for a bathtub and about a zillion candles lit all around it.
It's a bubble bath. They're both sharing a bubble bath. So obviously any hesitancy has gone out the window for Angel. Are there flower petals everywhere too?
It's a really weird room because it looks like a log cabin.
Yeah.
And it's wide open space except for all these candles and this bathtub. And I think there's a couple tires maybe lined up against the wall.
I mean, you could tell it was a warehouse type place, but did he get all those candles? Did they stop at a candle store?
Maybe it was a warehouse for candles.
Oh.
I don't know what the bathtub was doing there.
No, and how they get the water? It's set in the middle of the room. There's no faucet. And Angel tells a funny story about her grandma having a claw-footed tub and her being afraid that it was going to chase her. It's so goofy. And I guess this is a little bit of character background on her.
Maybe, but the whole point of the conversation is that when she starts talking about her parents again, Tony says that he's going to be the one taking care of her now.
And he starts by, well, taking care of her sexually, I guess. But we don't see that, but they go in for a kiss and they're already naked, so you can guess what happens next.
Now we cut to the next day and we see that they bought a convertible with some of that money. It cost them 4 Gs.
They didn't steal a car. I thought this was maybe a bit of progress for Tony. But he says he's going to Mexico and they can't cross the border in a hot car.
And they bought a powder blue 59 Corvette.
Really cool.
Convertible.
Everything is a convertible. You can't really see people driving around if they're not in a convertible. So for movie making purposes, they're the best car.
We cut away to see that Skinny, Tattoo, and Whale are in pursuit of them as well. They're riding down the highway.
How they found Tony, we don't know. The way everybody finds him, it's like he has 1959 GPS.
The Nortons are doing their pursuit as well, and they stop at a payphone to check in with the police.
Like an oil derrick being pumped behind them.
And they find out that Tony and Angel did spend a night in a warehouse about 10 miles from where they are now, so they're going to head out that way.
How did they find the where? I just don't know how this tracking is happening.
It's really good police work.
I suppose. We're back on the road with Tony and Angel. Angel wants to know how fast the car can go. So Tony hits the accelerator. And of course, that triggers a cop coming up behind him to pull him over.
Angel gets a little frantic. She doesn't want to go to jail. But Tony tells her to just be cool. He pulls over and then pulls a knife from his pocket.
Jesus Christ, Tony, says Angel.
The cop walks up to the car and tells Tony that he was speeding and asks for his identification. Tony says he must have left it at the gas station. He'll have to go back for it. So the cop tells Tony and Angel to step out of the car. Just then, the officer gets a call, so he goes back to his bike. And this call tells him that the suspects are now driving a blue 59 Corvette convertible.
And he reads off the license plate, and it's obviously Tony's license plate. How'd they get a license plate so fast? They bought it with one? Maybe we're just implying modern logic to 1959 car buying. But at any rate, as he's getting this call, Tony sidles up behind him, takes his blade, and stabs him square in the chest.
He tells Angel to get in a car. He takes that officer's gun and shoots it behind him to get her moving because she's a little reluctant.
She's horrified. She can't believe he killed this police officer. Although, I don't know what she expected him to do. This seems like a logical progression for Tony, but it's taken Angel completely by surprise.
So meanwhile, the Nortons have arrived at that warehouse, and the police are already there combing the place. Lieutenant Clark tells them that they seem to have just missed them, but they believe that they're headed to the Mexican border, and they've alerted the authorities there and set up some roadblocks. So they hope to catch them before they make it to Mexico.
Dad is pretty furious that this is as far as the investigation's gotten. So he's going to follow them as they chase after Tony and Angel. Skinny, Tattoo, and Whale pull up to where the dead cop is lying in the road. They recognize the knife as being Tony's. Actually, it was Skinny's, but then Tony stole it from him. So he knows that Tony is the one who killed the cop and that they're on the right path. They also see that the cop's holster is empty, and so they know that Tony now has a gun instead of a knife. And they get back on the road.
Tony and Angel continue their drive, but they have to stop for gas.
Angel is sulking the whole time. She's not into it anymore.
When they stop, Angel sneaks off to use the phone. She calls the police, but Tony comes in and catches her and brings her back out to the car. Then he points the gun at the service attendant to avoid paying.
It's only $4, dude.
As they drive away, Angel asks why did they have to use the gun because they have all this money. Because it's fun, babe, says Tony.
You used to be fun. Tony's surprised that Angel isn't into crime sprees anymore. She just liked getting pretty things. She doesn't want anybody to die. Now the last people to find the cop's body are the police officers that are chasing after Tony. They see that he's killed a cop, and now this is serious. Well, they're going to take it seriously. If they find him, it's shoot to kill time. And Angie's parents are horrified that their little girl might be caught in the crossfire.
As Tony drives on with a reluctant Angel in the passenger seat, the car blows a tire. Tony gets down to look at it, and Angel keeps complaining that she wants to go home. She says she won't tell anybody where Tony's going. She just wants to go. But Tony thinks they're in this together now, so he's going to make her walk to Mexico.
50 miles. 50 miles to Mexico? I wouldn't walk 50 feet to the corner if I didn't have to. In the desert, it's pretty hot. But onward they go. Not on the road, but through the hills. They're going to cut through a trail or a road that Tony thinks will lead them to Mexico. Actually, he's right, but
it's headed south, so it's the right direction.
Right.
It's not too long before Skinny, Tattoo, and Whale ride their bikes to where the car was left. They then realize that Tony and Angel continued on foot, so they're just going to follow their footprints.
How are they going to know their footprints? There's probably tons of footprints. They're trying to think of it logically. Tony's in trouble. He's going to cut through the hills. He's not going to stay on the road.
Well, we know that they can't follow the footprints because before too long, they come to a fork in the road and they can't decide which way to go. And Skinny says that they'll take the left road because Tony never does anything right.
I thought that was a funny line, honestly.
Whale wants to take the right road because it goes straight.
Well, Tony's going to take the crooked road because he's a crook. And then in the next scene, we find that 50-mile walk is over and done with. They're at the border. But it's not wide open anymore.
Yeah, there's guards at the border, so they can't just walk across. They're going to have to find another way across. Tony takes Angel up a hill, and they wind up on a bridge.
But not a bridge over water.
He tells her they'll have to jump to their freedom. He throws the money bag over, and then pushes Angel over and jumps himself.
You guys, this is a long drop. It's not just like a car could go under this bridge. It looks like it's 4 stories that they fall.
Yeah, you're going to break at least a foot falling this distance.
I would be surprised if you didn't break your leg, your back, some arms, and maybe your head. But they're fine. They stand up, shake the dust off, and keep walking. There's no way it would work.
Tony says they're almost there, but they can see the border from here. And nearby, a Mexican policia sleeps at his post.
The cops have caught up to them, and so we hear them in pursuit. They're in their cars, though. But the siren sounds are following them.
Angel starts screaming, and Tony clicks the gun to Angel's head. She pleads with him to let her go. No way, he says. If he lets her go, he's a dead man.
She's a hostage now. They're all surrounded by the cops, and even Angel's dad is there holding a rifle. Now it's a standoff.
The police are there, the Nortons are there, the Mexican Border Patrol is there. Tony yells out that he's crossing the border, and his Angel is going with him, or he'll blow her head off right there. Lieutenant Clark orders everyone to hold their fire.
And just when you think everything is lost, Skinny and the gang pull up on their motorcycles. And Tony thinks that they're there to save him, but that's not what's happening. Skinny drives straight towards Angel and Tony, but as Angel and Tony separate, he commands that Angel get on the back of his bike and he rides her to safety. Now Tony's out there all alone.
Tony tries to make a run for it, but he's gunned down when he tries to climb over the fence to Mexico.
I'm coming home, he says, as he tries to scale that fence.
And Angel continues screaming as Tony is shot several times in the back and then in the front when he spins around.
Yeah, I think Angel's dad even got a shot or two in.
So in the aftermath of all this, Angel is reunited with her parents.
It's all over, her mom whispers.
Skinny is under arrest for taking part in a jailbreak and stealing a horse.
Etc., etc. Angel's dad declares it's time to go, but Angel jumps out of the car and says she has to do something first. She goes over to thank Skinny for his help. He's in the back of the police car, and she leans in and gives him a kiss on the mouth. And then she looks at him starry-eyed and declares she'll wait for him, no matter how long it takes.
All right, he says.
Oh, I laughed so hard at this scene. It's so funny. Then she walks past Tony's corpse without a glance at it and climbs in the car and says, Dad, I'm ready.
So as they drive off, we hear Mrs. Norton say, you'll love the new town, Angel. The new school is beautiful. You'll make new friends. You'll see. I can't wait, says Angel. And then we hear the ghostly voice of Tony say, I will always love you, Angel.
And then we fade to credits, and that's the end. Welcome back to the American International Podcast, where we're talking about Rebel Highway Episode 8, Jailbreakers from 1994. There is but one tagline for the video release of Jailbreakers, and it is, they're fast and they're furious.
How original.
How original, yeah. You'll hear something very similar if you listen to our episode on Drag Strip Girl from last week. Don't have a lot of information on this movie, but obviously it was filmed in Southern California, as were all the other episodes, more or less.
As we mentioned, the music in this episode wasn't as much a primary character as it is in some of the others in the Rebel Highway series.
No, in Shaker Island Rock, it was all about music. Here, it's just sort of background noise at times.
The Meat Puppets cover of House of Blue Lights was played over the end credits. And also during the film, we heard Stampede by the Scarlets, Blue Mallard by the Nomads, Little Mary by Fats Domino, and For Your Love by Ed Townsend. And except for the Fats Domino song, I don't recall hearing any of these.
I think I heard them, but like I said, they're just background noise. It might be a song playing on the radio while they're driving. It seemed that in this movie, it was rockabilly, but the the kind of rockabilly that we heard in Road Racers. The really not mainstream kind.
No, it was like ahead of its time punk, if it's supposed to be in the 50s.
It was punkabilly. And that seems to be what Tony liked listening to. So when we're in his car playing music from him, that's what we're hearing. When they're dancing at the Sweet 16 party, it's a slow song. That might be the Blue Mallard tune. But yeah, the music is not a big player in this movie.
I just mentioned the Fats Domino song because I believe there's been a Fats Domino song in every one of these except maybe Road Racers.
Yeah, I don't think we did hear one there.
And I think it's because Fats Domino songs might be really inexpensive to license. If you watch the credits from Happy Days episodes, it always says the music was by Anson Williams and Fats Domino.
Well, how hard is it to get an Anson Williams song? These movies don't have any. We have a few reviews from when this movie was originally released. Variety wrote that, quote, while Tony's expected demise comes at the show's end, the ride getting there is fraught with conflict, goofy characters that at times border on a Lords of Flatbush parody, and car chases that allow veteran Helmer William Friedkin to tap all his favorite film devices. There are also plenty of indignant adults riding herd on the exuberant youths, but they seem to be present just to make sure no demographic goes unrepresented. Friedkin pulls good work from all the cast, whose enjoyable performances help save the tiresome rewrite of the 1957 version proffered by scripters Debra Hill and Gigi Vorgan.
John Burlingame reviewed Jailbreakers for his syndicated column and said, Jailbreakers offers further proof that William Friedkin, who long ago won an Oscar for The French Connection before his movie career went into a tailspin, now does his best work in TV. Friedkin takes a film genre, in this case, the Rebel with a Cause-style drive-in movie about teens in trouble, and remakes it for contemporary audiences, adding a few slam-bang action sequences along the way. Jailbreakers benefits from Friedkin's lean, high-energy filmmaking style.
Nathan Rabin of the AV Club said, a companion piece to Rodriguez's similarly speed-loving Road Racers, Jailbreakers doesn't quite have that film's boundless energy and propulsive sense of fun, but compensates with lip-smacking nastiness and a brisk 76-minute running time. As a she-wolf in cheerleader's clothing, Doherty too often blurs the line between entertaining bad and just plain awful, but the terrific Brody fills the charisma void with characteristic panache. Nasty, low-down, and fast-paced, Jailbreakers doesn't aspire to be anything more than a fun B-movie and succeeds nicely.
Stephen H. Sheward in his TV Tonight column wrote, if you don't know how you're going to get through this season without Shannen Doherty on Beverly Hills 90210, here she is in full bloom in this contrived teen story playing a seemingly nice high schooler who actually has a bad streak in her.
Mark DeLavina wrote in his brief review, Shannen Doherty at 10 o'clock and she's not even playing Brenda. The latest Rebel Highway entry, directed by William Friedkin of The Exorcist, cast the bad girl from Beverly Hills as a teen obsessed with a hood. When the shenanigans lead to a stay in the big house, expect the inevitable. That's pretty funny. Expect the inevitable. And that's kind of what we got. What do you think of the plot of this movie? Were there any twists and turns that surprised you?
I don't think I was ever surprised anywhere along the way. This seemed to be a pretty straight path.
I was surprised by the ending, and pleasantly so. I did not see, well, I did see it coming about 10 seconds before it happened, but not before then.
I think that the ending probably elevated this movie to a new level.
Oh, it did for me, definitely. Like I said, it was funny, but it surprised me pleasantly. I like when movies aren't really predictable. Like I said, I figured out what was going to happen a few seconds before it did. But a lot of the times, like with the last movie we watched for this, Drag Strip Girl, I could have written that one myself half awake. It was so predictable and cheesy. This one had fun with it, at least a little more than the last movie did.
Yeah, this was written by Debra Hill and Gigi Vorgan, which was the same team that did the remake of Conventions of a Sorority Girl.
And that one we liked a lot.
And that was pretty much a straight remake with a couple embellishes.
Right, but it was a lot spicier.
But this one just takes the title and does a whole different story. I think that's a good thing because trying to see a modern version of the original Jailbreakers would be even stranger than the original Jailbreakers was, which I loved because it was so bizarre, but I don't think it needs to be revisited.
It also wasn't about teenagers. It had nothing to do with young people. There were established young adults to old people in that movie. There were no teens. There were no 20-somethings.
Well, that girl who was kidnapped, but...
Right, but apart from her, the movie wasn't about her. She was just a plot device. The movie was about the guy with daddy issues and the daddy causing them.
Yeah, so I was really glad to see that this wasn't going to be a straight remake.
They were never supposed to be straight remakes, although we found at least half of them so far have been close enough that you know that they watched the original and cribbed at least some bits of it, if not all of it.
What do you think about the look of this movie? To me, it looked like it was shot on video, which I think diminished a little from its effect. But besides that, as we mentioned, the 50s aesthetic is not really visible here.
Again, they relied on the vehicles, I believe, and almost nothing else to convey the time period. The wardrobe, especially Shannen Doherty's, I don't know if she had like wardrobe control or something, and she says, I am not wearing a poodle skirt. It seems like that's the case. Her wardrobe is so inappropriate to the time. And that kind of took me out of it a bit. Her hairstyle didn't match. She couldn't, pull her hair back and tie a scarf around a ponytail. I don't know what they were thinking with that. It seems like a poor choice. And the guys were just all wearing the same uniform of jeans and leather jackets and white t-shirts. Or the good boys wore Letterman jackets.
Are there any good boys in this one? Well, I guess Jack and Gary.
Right. I've watched Shannen Doherty in so many things over the years. I loved her in Beverly Hills. She was in Charm. She starred in this movie. It's a Lifetime movie called Friends to the End, where she plays a singer. And that is a fantastic, fun, bad movie. If you haven't seen it, you should go find it. And the music in it's really fun too. And I just have enjoyed her. I was so sad to hear that she died. And I love her in this movie. I think she's a great choice. Even though she doesn't look right, I think she is the right actress for the job.
Oh, I think she did a really good job, yeah. I think it's obvious that her reputation as being difficult to work with had hurt her career around this time. And I don't know that that was actually the case. I think she was just very strong-willed.
If you know what you want and you ask for it, as a woman, a lot of times people just write you off as a B word, as a bitch. Whereas a man might be assertive and demanding what's due him. A woman is just being an obstacle. And so I think she got a lot of that. The same thing happened when she was on Charm. She was on for a couple seasons and then her demands were too much and they let her go. And again, that show really suffered without her, I think. So I think maybe if people in charge were a little more accommodating to her, at least she might not have got that reputation. Because I think she's a really good actress. And I think they kind of did her dirty.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know exactly what went on behind the scenes, but it seems like it could be that she was just a strong woman and Hollywood does not like that.
No, they don't. But I'm glad that we got to see her in this. I think she did a fantastic job. Antonio Sabato Jr., on the other hand, was better than I expected because I've seen him, I've only seen him on General Hospital, which is where he got his start. And then I know him for his political views now, and so I wasn't expecting very much. And he's not that great, but he wasn't as bad as I thought he might have been.
Well, the character of Angel is really the only one who isn't a cardboard cutout. Everybody else is just a cartoon character. They just do what they're set out to do. There's no development. I mean, we don't see Tony acting as a bad guy necessarily until he's acting out, but
murdering people.
Right. We kind of assume that because he's got that black leather jacket on, so he's a no good hood.
And they don't mention his ethnicity at all, which is unusual because in every other movie we've had a person who's not lily white. They're denigrated because of that. And they didn't really go there with this movie, which kind of surprised me. I just thought that maybe, though he was a cartoon character, he was adequate to the task of playing a cartoon hoodlum. Maybe some of his line reads were a little wooden.
Oh, I don't think any of the line reads were as bad as they were a drag strip girl.
Oh my gosh, that was so awful. But I think it's really easy to play angry or someone who might not be a really good actor. And sorry to say, I'm thinking of Tom Welling on Smallville here, where when he's a nice guy, it's fine. I like him. I like the show. But when he's on Red Kryptonite and he's really evil, he's great. He is so good at that. And I think that might be a little bit what's happening here. When you have that emotion running through you as an actor, I think it's a lot easier to stay in character and be interesting than it is when you're just Mr. Regular Guy. And I think that's kind of why everybody else in this movie who wasn't a hoodlum came across as really one-dimensional.
Well, even some of the hoodlums, if you remember Splint and his gang, their purpose was to get in a fight for pretty much no reason.
They're only on screen for, what, a minute at most?
Yeah, why even bother introducing them?
Why not have Skinny and the gang start the conflict? because they're leaders with this.
Right. You have a conflict with your own ranks. They're already at another table. It'd be easy to have them set up against each other.
That scene came out of nowhere and seemed inauthentic to the rest of the movie.
I was kind of disappointed that Tony didn't have a nickname. I'm assuming that Skinny, Whale, and Tattoo are not their birth names.
Tattoo. He didn't even have tattoos.
I kept wanting to write Tiny when I was taking notes.
Well, Sean Whalen is a little guy compared to the other one.
Tony.
Oh, for Tiny. Oh, I thought you meant for Tattoo. You would have earned the moniker Tiny out of all 4 of them.
Only Angel knows for sure.
So this was kind of a bounce back from Drag Strip Girl, which so far, we haven't seen all of them yet, is the nadir of the Rebel Highway set of movies. It's not up to the level of the first 5, which we both gave A's to. We really like them, but I feel a lot more hopeful that the last 2 aren't going to be as bad as Drag Strip Girl. And it's kind of hard to judge these movies individually when it's part of a series and they all have the same mission statement where they're remaking AIP titles with their own stories and their own actors, but it's still supposed to be something under the AIP umbrella.
Right. We're supposed to be able to look at these movies as individuals, but we can't help and compare them to what we saw in the same series. Because this technically is a television series, a series of movies, but it's still a television series. It's not like movies released one at a time.
Like the originals.
Right.
The originals have nothing to do with each other, but there's no choice but to take them as a whole. It's, like you said, one series. And so we have to judge them individually and as part of a series. So far, we're doing good.
Yeah, most of them have been good.
And so on that note, it's time to give it a letter grade. Using our AIP scale, where A is awesome, I is intermediate, and P is pathetic. Hit me with it, Jeff.
Well, as we said, this wasn't quite as good as the first 5 that we saw, but definitely better than Drag Strip Girl. If those first 5, which we both gave A's to, are 5-star movies, this one's probably a 4-star, but that's still going to equate to an A on a 3-tier scale. So this one is also going to get an A from me. What are your thoughts?
I have to agree. Towards the middle, I was thinking, oh, where is this going? Because it does kind of slow down for a while.
Well, it takes them a long time to actually break out of jail.
Right. You think that that's the point of the movie. But I think that it did pick up the pace once that happened. And it got fun and interesting. And I was compelled to find out what's happening next. And then that ending just nailed it for me. When she goes over to Skinny and utters the line, "I'll wait for you," I was like, yes, now you're a good movie. Now you're an A movie. And I happily give it an A as well. So yeah, Friedkin, if this is his best work on TV, I'd have to agree. At least now it is.
It's funny that we waited so long for the jailbreak to actually happen. Then we have to go through that whole horse deal so they can get the money so they can start doing the rest of the plot.
And so that we can give Skinny a reason to vow revenge on Tony. Tony is a backstabber. But looking back, it all comes together, even though at the time I was like, what the hell is happening?
Not all of it. The scene with Splint and his gang still doesn't need to be there.
No, but for the most part, the major plot elements. Now it makes sense that we look back. And I wonder how many times that they have had to move Angel before the movie started. Because they seem to know what to do pretty fast. They didn't think about it long.
Well, the first time it took them a while because it wasn't until it started affecting them as the parents that they said, okay, we got to do something about this.
It might have happened that way before, though. That might have been, well, Angel is a pariah, but now.
I don't think so because it took them until it affected them to realize they had to do something about it. Whereas as soon as they're driving away from Tony's dead body, okay, time to move.
I don't know. She might have demonstrated some proclivities towards that direction. Yeah, and I guess they did seem a little blindsided. Her dad trusted Tony immediately when he met him, which surprised me. Because here's a guy with slick back hair, wearing a motorcycle jacket, obviously way too old for your 15-year-old daughter. And yet you're, oh, nice to meet you, sir. Join the army.
Yeah, thanks for driving her home.
Yeah, from the library. I don't know. She was like a calculating liar from the beginning. And her interest in Tony didn't develop over time. She was like, oh, yeah, I want that guy. So I don't know. There might have been something going on with her before. And this is just part of a pattern. but it's the first time that it ever ended in death.
I think this is probably the first time she was able to manifest her feelings.
I believe that. But all in all, this was really fun and good watch.
So to find out more about Jailbreakers and the rest of the Rebel Highway series and the other movies we talked about on the American International Podcast, you can visit our website at aippod.com. There you can find advertising paraphernalia such as posters and lobby cards, watch trailers, and find out where you can stream the movies that we talked about. You can also contact us to let us know what you think about the movies or about the podcast in general. You can message us on the website, aippod.com.
And so now it's time to head north of the border and say goodbye to this episode of the American International Podcast. I'm Cheryl Lightfoot.
And I'm Jeff Markin.
And we'll meet you at the drive-in.
Follow the American International Podcast on Instagram and Letterboxd at AIP_pod and on Facebook at facebook.com/American International Podcast.
The American International Podcast is produced and edited by Jeff Markin.
A man whose mind is distorted by hatred.
And Cheryl Lightfoot.
A girl hungry for too many things.
The American International Podcast is part of the Pop Culture Entertainment Network.